8 years, $92 million. Sounds like an $11.5 million per season contract for Willie Nylander. Your thoughts?
Willie's face says it all after the game when they're talking about that contract with him. He couldn't keep the smile off his face. So it's a done deal. It's a big number, but it's what it took to lock him up. And I see it, and I can't help when I think about Willie. I want to sign Willie. I want to re-sign him. You don't let him go. But every time I think about that contract, I think about like Marner and like, what do we do with the core four? And Marner's no trades kicked in, and it's like, what are we going to do with this core four? You cannot. I think it's kind of. I mean, look at the team this year. Like, are they going to go the distance? Are they going to win the Stanley Cup this year? It would be some kind of a miracle, and maybe some major changes at the trade deadline. Something they'll have a different look. But as of right now, I just don't think this having that much eggs in the basket of the core four is going to work. It's not going to work in the playoffs. You can have some pretty awesome regular seasons and get some guys up at the top of the standings in the NHL. That's great. But I just, in my mind, I've said it before, we need to unload Marner and get as much as we possibly can for him. He's just my pick for that. And he's the only guy that, I mean, it's Marner, Nylander, or Matthews. No one's going to take that Tavares contract. So to me, it's Marner. It's just that you don't walk away from Matthews, and you can't walk away from Willie, and that leaves the odd man out as Marner. And my opinion of him is that you're not going to win in the playoffs with him. He doesn't have the gumption. He doesn't have the tenacity. He won't go to war with you for 2 straight months. So, our back end's not good enough. See what you can get for Marner, but now we're in a position with no trade. It's just kind of it's an interesting spot, man. And I really can't wait to see what this team looks like in, say, a year's time, because I think it's going to be quite a bit different, but it's certainly going to have William Nylander on it.
Definitely. We know that as far. It's going to have Matthews on it. And I think the curiosity for me is like, Leafs fans are just never happy. Like the consensus on social media, everybody's pissed off. And it's the same conversation we always have when somebody signs a contract. Instead of like, let's celebrate that Willie Nylander is essentially going to be a Maple Leaf for life. He ran it back. He's coming back. He's on pace for 47 goals, 120 points. Yeah, it's a steep price. And yeah, he probably earned himself. And I think sometimes you tip your cap to the player, probably earned himself like an extra $15 million on the contract. And I know Treliving is going to get ripped for this. Like, why didn't he sign him, before the season? It's a loser's mentality to think of it that way, where it's like, retrospectively, in hindsight, it's so easy to make that prediction and that statement. But like, I think Nylander deserves a lot of credit, man. He put his money where his mouth was. And I think it's just like a really, really impressive job by him, the way he started this season. And I think he's worth every penny. And unfortunately, I think they had no choice. You can't lose a player of this stature, and so he's re-signing.
Yeah, he is. And I mean, they couldn't get the deal done at the beginning. Maybe they could have gotten him for 11 at the beginning of the year. Okay, how do you know, right? And then maybe he goes and has not such a hot year right now. That's always my worry. It's like this, like how much of this season and the way he's performing is due to it being contract year, and like he absolutely needs to go 110 every single game, and how much of it is William Nylander has just taken a step ahead, matured, blossomed. Now he's this premier talent. I mean, we got him for $1 million less than McDavid. And maybe in 3 years' time, McDavid re-signs and he's at 15 million. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know, but right now, he's going to be playing next year as $1 million less than McDavid. I mean, he's had an incredible season. In 7 years' time, is he going to be worth exactly every penny? No, but that's how these contracts work. Guys get older. You need to lock them up. You need to give them their security in order to take their services for the foreseeable future. So that's just how it works, and what that looks like in 8 years. It doesn't really matter. Why would you talk about that right now? Talk about what you have and what it looks like. But it always is a little bit of a concern to me when a guy has just this career year, this blast off breakout year during a contract year. And then it's like, is that his baseline now, or is that his ceiling? And nobody knows. But the bottom line is, I agree with you. You can't let him go.
Any coincidence that the final number is going to be $92 million over 8 years? His dad wore number 92.
Yeah, that was definitely like Tree Living was
I
just
think it
like,
was.
I want this number to mean something. I mean, remember your dad, what was his jersey number again? It was 92. So I think that the contract's got to be 92 million, because then that reflects your dad's jersey number. And I think that was just an absolute priority
So
for
I think
Tree
it's
Living.
just it's just a coincidence.
Yes, it's a coincidence. They're talking about 11 million, 11.25
So
million.
when
Then it
Crosby
bumped up
signed
to
for
11.5.
8.7, that was just a coincidence. When Crosby signed for 8.7 a year, that was a
No, not
coincidence too.
Crosby. He took a
Okay.
fucking massive discount to win Stanley Cups, and he said, "Let's make it." And they're like, "Well, we're around 8 to 9, blah blah." 9 point. He goes, "I'll take
Okay.
8.7, make it an 8.7." Not his dad's fucking jersey number. That's
So
insane.
answer this question. Why don't the Leafs ever win negotiations? Like, I'm beginning to think there's no point of having a GM here. Brendan Shanahan's the GM of this team, okay? He wanted the core four back. He's going to run it back with the core four. But when's the last time the Leafs won a negotiation with a player? Again, this is not me insulting like the move. Like, I think Willie Nylander's worth every penny. I think he's proven it. I think, again, kudos to him. He's earned it. But there hasn't been a deal in recent memory where we're like, wow, the Leafs really won that one. It's not like Masai Ujiri in the NBA, like making trades. Like the guy wins every trade he makes. Every time the Leafs sign an extension, it's like, wow, they gave him exactly what he deserves, exactly what he wanted.
Yeah, I'm trying to think back. I don't. I don't know. They pay guys what
Exactly.
they're worth. What? So let's just say Shanahan didn't exist. What do you think would be different if Tree Living had full control over how this deal went?
Well, I think the most logical move was like, again, definition of insanity. They had a window, they had a pocket last year where Mitch Marner was had no trade protection. Right now, that's the problem here. It's going to spiral out of control. And not to get back to the previous administration, but like they gave all these guys no movement clauses. They gave Nylander a no movement clause. They can't even trade Mitch Marner. Say they come to a finale at the end of this year where they're like, we got to change the core four. It's not working. They can't even trade Mitch Marner. He's got a full no trade that walks them right to July 1 in a year and a half from now. So they're stuck with it. And a player of that ilk, you can't just walk them to free agency, especially a homegrown talent like Mitch Marner. So they're going to be stuck in a predicament where we're having the same conversation. They're going to have to pay this guy. I could tell you right now, he's going to want more per season than Nylander got. So you're looking at, I've already heard ballpark numbers around 106 million bucks on an 8-year contract for Marner. It's just speculation, just what I'm hearing, but he's not taking. See, I speculated, hey, give him the same deal. He's not going to accept that deal. Yeah, exactly. But again, this goes back to the convo earlier on, right? We've talked about this ad nauseum doing this podcast the last 2 years, where it's like you set a structure, the previous regime did, and now they have to live with it and deal with the ramifications of it. No?
Well, as far as the no move clause
No,
and
and
everything,
as far as paying everybody exactly what they want, there's no pushback whatsoever. They started all this.
well, what else do you do? Like just hold out? I mean, if in a year and a half we come up to the trade deadline and wherever they're at, and they're like, Mitch, like we want, like, if you just tell him we're going to trade you, we want to trade you, we want to change our team, we want to move you out, we can move you to a contender, and then you're going to get every last pinch dollar you can get from the open market. You think he's just like, nope, not happening,
I
not
don't.
moving
I
me.
think he's stubborn. I think he'll walk it right till July 1. He wants
I
to
don't
be a
know,
Maple
man.
Leaf.
It's those no move clauses. I mean, it's a whole different can of worms to say trade him back before July 1. Like what was
Yeah,
available, what could you get for him? Leafs Nation would be, there would be a lot of people losing their minds that we just unloaded Marner, right?
yeah,
It's tough one. It's very tough. And I agree. You put your eggs in this core four basket. It is what it is. I like how nobody talks about Tavares being at $11 million.
yeah,
Like that just goes under the thing. What do you think? Like, imagine he's worth 8, I think, like less.
yeah.
Like, what's his next one going to look like if he takes a little discount? But it's just so many eggs in the basket. We're not a well-rounded team.
No,
We're super heavy up front with the same type of player, and we don't have anyone to round off the team to take us deep in the playoffs. It
yeah,
certainly isn't Mitch Marner in my mind, and we're kind of stuck with it. But there's, you got a guy at the helm, and I know you don't think he's at the helm, but Tree Living's famous for making stuff works, having inventive trades, getting a lot of teams involved, a lot of people involved, and making things work that you thought, holy, I didn't see that coming. So I hope he can work some magic. And just at the end of the day, I just want this team to be more built and better suited for the playoffs come playoff time this year and years to come.
Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long form interviews, we got clips, we got epic rants by Jay Rosehill. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.